Is Chromakopia better than Igor? What's up guys? Chromakopia dropped today at 6 a.m. Eastern time, but since I'm living here in Milan, Italy, I got to listen to it in the middle of the afternoon. I've only listened one time through, but I want to share my initial thoughts on the album. I'll start with an overview of the album and its themes, talk about some of the little extras along the way, like the hidden features, and then I'll talk about some of the individual tracks. Make sure to watch to the end to find out where I think Chromakopia falls among Tyler the Creator's other albums. Let's get into it. Okay, overview of the album. It's similar to his last few in the sense that there's an overall theme to this album. Some of the biggest messages he's getting across are first, be yourself. From the intro of the first track all the way to that voicemail outro that I think is his mom telling him that she's proud of him. There's this message of be yourself, but do your best at it. And I think that's kind of been Tyler the Creator's message to anyone over the last few years is do what you want and give it your all. Another one of the biggest themes was Tyler maturing. He talks so much about him being 30, talking about the other people around him not looking or feeling as young as they used to and kind of having to embrace that. Another recurring theme is paranoia, which he talks about obviously in the lead single Noid, but comes up through other tracks of the songs. Other topics Tyler addresses along the way are love, being raised by a single mother, feminism, religion, self-doubt, and more. If I were to come up with an umbrella term for all of these themes and topics that Tyler addresses, I would call it maturing. Tyler's felt a point in his career where he's enjoyed so much success through all of the ups and downs, but now he's thinking about getting old, settling down, the paranoia that comes with this fame. All of these topics and themes are kind of under this umbrella term of him maturing. He's looking ahead in life to what's next for Tyler. Let's talk about the features. Here's all the features that Genius lists. But the standout ones to me were Sexyy Red, Lil Wayne, and GloRilla all on Sticky, and Daniel Caesar on St. Chroma. Other than that, there were some good ones along the way, but pretty interesting. Bit of a different direction for the features. A lot of them weren't like, okay, now this rapper's taking the verse. Like, yeah, that happened with Sexy, but Lil Wayne only has about 2 lines, so pretty interesting. I swear I heard A$AP Rocky in the background on one song, so I'm gonna have to look to see if that was there. Like, just adlibs, but still. Kind of exciting. Okay, we have to talk about his switch from McLaren to Ferrari, and maybe I've missed something since the last few albums, but like he mentioned the Rolls Royce on Lumberjack, but back in the day, Tyler would say, only McLaren, I'm not buying anything else, like strictly McLaren, and now he's got a LaFerrari in a music video. He mentions Ferraris multiple times throughout, so I think it's interesting and kind of want to know where this stemmed from. I personally like Ferrari, I also like McLaren, so I'm invested as a car fan. Now I want to talk about some of the tracks that stood out to me. I'm also going to need to dive into the samples to understand where all this is coming from, but there were some dope beats on this album. So Rah Tah Tah goes so hard. I was vibing to that song, like the second it hit, I was like, okay, this is good. And okay, Rah Tah Tah, I swear A$AP Rocky has adlibs in the back, like just very minimal, but it was so distinctly his voice. Comment below if you think it was him. I couldn't tell. Let me know. Darling I really addresses love in an interesting way. He finishes off the last verse saying, nobody could fill me like this music does, so I'll be lonely with these Grammys when it's all said and done. Come on. I'm like, Tyler, oh, it's so interesting. He talks about picturing a life with him and a girl down the road with their own family and all these different things, but at the end of the day, he feels more fulfilled by the music. Like, come on, Tyler, you can find love, I promise you. Hey Jane is an interesting conversation between Tyler and a girl who's found out that he got her pregnant. So much to unpack there. I'm not gonna get into that right now. Okay, we gotta talk about Judge Judy, because it kind of threw me for a loop. Honestly, it feels pretty corny for Tyler. Like, I don't judge Judy, I can't judge Judy. Like, such a weird play on words, and especially to pick Judge Judy to talk about for that. Like, I don't know. Sticky was the standout track. Partially just because of the features, partially because it went hard. I liked it. I mean, it might be the top charting song off the album. Also, I need to talk about where I think this album is gonna chart. Take Your Mask Off sounds like it has a diss at some point. I was trying to listen to it. I can't tell who it's against or if he's critiquing critics, so interesting to see what other info comes out about that. Tomorrow I felt like encapsulated all of the themes that he's talking about with being paranoid, getting judged by others and having pressure on himself, and also just getting old and preparing for the rest of his life. So, good encapsulation of these overlaying themes. Those are the biggest standout things I wanted to mention as far as the tracks go, but let's talk about where I feel like this album falls among Tyler the Creator's albums. To prepare for this album coming out, I listened to all of Tyler the Creator's discography, starting with his mixtape all the way through Call Me If You Get Lost. Here's how I would split up the albums in general. From the first mixtape all the way through Cherry Bomb, they're not what I would call concept albums. You hear the voice of Goblin, you hear the voice of Wolf Haley, things like that throughout the albums, but it's not like they're super tied together like you get from Tyler since Flower Boy. Okay, Flower Boy is so concise and so cohesive. Igor is the most cohesive in his one looping message about this love story. And Call Me If You Get Lost, again, great concept, all fits together pretty well. So I kind of group them as everything leading up to Cherry Boy and then these last 4 albums. As far as where it sits, Flower Boy is the first Tyler created album I like fell in love with, and that's when I was like, okay, I'm stoked on this. So in my opinion, Flower Boy outdoes Call Me If You Get Lost. I know people aren't gonna agree with that, but that's just how I feel. Igor's number 1. Igor is hands down number 1. I don't know. I can't yet. Chromakopia is gonna fit somewhere around Flower Boy and Call Me If You Get Lost, somewhere around there. I think it lands in the top half. One of the biggest drawbacks I have about this album is it felt really all over the place. And like, yes, Tyler always experiments with different sounds, different themes, different samples, but it felt like shell shock sometimes of like back and forth. So I'm gonna have to take that into consideration just because of how well I feel like Igor and Flower Boy fit together. So I think Chromakopia is gonna debut at number 1, mostly because his last 2 albums have, and the promotion was excellent with all of the green lettering and the black and white, all of it like super well done for promotion. So I would be shocked if it weren't to go number 1. Thank you for watching my initial thoughts on Chromakopia. Comment your thoughts as well. Also, let me know where you think it falls in his albums rank, his discography, how you think it is. I'm really curious to see what opinions y'all have about this because, like I said, I'm pretty biased, so I need some other opinions. Make sure to subscribe for my full album breakdown that's going to be coming out once I have more information on the samples, the lyrics, all that kind of stuff. I want to share that all with you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.